Following in the same steps as many turn-based RPGs from the 80s and 90s such as Earthbound, Final Fantasy, and Pokemon, Undertale has a lot of walking around from place to place within the game, talking with NPCs, and learning more from the world. With the 6 different areas within the game, you can interact with tons of NPCs, who will have some fun dialogue. You can go to shops, purchase food, and other things that may help you, as well as fun little things. During the end of Waterfall and the start of Hotland, Sans can be seen as a vendor while running away from Undyne. Once Undyne backs off, you can visit him and purchase hot dogs. Not too exciting, I know, but if you have a full inventory and keep buying them, the hot dogs will start to stack on your head, and can go pretty high. If you move too fast, the whole stack collapses and you lose all your food. Another example of such is the character Temmie. Yes, that Temmie. In the Waterfall region, there are these areas where paths can only be seen by lights from plants that you must interact with every few seconds if you'd like to see where you're going. Anyways, near the bottom of the corner of that room, there's a hidden area that's filled with Temmies. You can talk with them all and see their fun little dialogue. And if you choose to enter Tem's shop, you can donate money to pay for their college funds, and a little animation plays with Tem freaking out and being excited at the fact that they can now afford to go to college. There are a ton of hidden little rooms, and some that are only console exclusive. While also on the topic of finales, if you complete the Pacifist run, the game allows you to walk from the very final room to the very first room, where it all began. You can walk and can talk with as many NPCs as you'd like on your way back, but really, you just want to take the river fellow over there, so you can get there quickly. It's really interesting to see the reaction of the monsters though, how they think their lives will be once they're free from the underground. It's touching. And to walk back to the same spot where you landed and saw Flowey so long ago makes you think. Passing the rock, shy dummies, froggets, and puzzles. Going through Toriel's home and thinking back to the start of the game. You finally reach the beginning, and standing in Flowey's space is Azrael, who you can speak with. He lets you know that everything is going to be alright, and that someone has to take care of these patch of flowers. If you decide to keep talking with him, he insists that you go on and be free. He then starts repeating the words, "Do you have nothing better to do?" It's a message to you, the player. The game is glad that you chose it over any other game, but you have already beat the final boss. That's it. You can go on and make lasting moments with the people in your life. Make this life worth living. Go and have fun. You don't have to return to the game. In fact, it makes an effort to let you know that if you do reset, everything that you did will be forgotten by everyone in the game, and that your playthrough was for nothing. There are a ton of hidden areas that I didn't cover, and it's those things added to the game that make it better than just walking around and talking. While also influenced by combat from traditional turn-based RPGs, Undertale once again changes it. In most RPGs, you can enter an area where you fight an enemy, and a whole list of different options appears, letting you choose what you want to do, and then playing an animation. Random number generator, and damage is given to the enemy. Then the enemy attacks. For the enemy's attack, the game just auto-chooses for them, and repeat over and over until you live and win, or die and lose. However, when you do get into the combat with an enemy in Undertale, it changes up by showing a little heart icon that represents you. The enemies throw attacks at it, and it is up to you to dodge the attacks as best you can, which allows there to be some sort of interaction with the combat instead of just random damage being done after reading it on screen. You decide how much damage you are going to deal to an enemy. When attacking, a little bar comes up and a little scroll goes across it. You can stop it anywhere there before it reaches the end. If it is dead in the center, the most damage is dealt. The further from the middle of the bar, the less damage. That is one of the biggest problems with turn-based RPGs. Just seeing a list of commands, pressing a button over and over just to kill an enemy. with you not having any interaction with how much damage you deal or gain other than the equipment you have on. Hell, even back then people found turn-based combat to be so annoying that Earthbound made an option for auto combat, where you don't even need to do anything. The game plays itself and fight. I'm not too sure if it autoplays whenever it goes up against a boss or an enemy with special attacks, but why wouldn't it? Speaking of bosses, there are a bunch in Undertale, each one having some sort of attack. An example of one is the Papyrus fight, where his famous blue attack turns your heart blue and only allows jumping over attacks. Another is Metaton, where you shoot little peas at him and his attacks can rewind. I could go on, but you get the point. The game tries to keep you interested and interacting in combat, trying to get you to learn the patterns and not take damage, while also adding difficulty in there by attacks becoming harder to understand. Plus, a game that's about pacifism means that there is no need to grind for XP, so you can fight even tougher enemies. Most enemies can be met head on without gaining any XP, so the game puts the story up front, making each boss seem difficult, which that sometimes it can be, but in reality, it's staged and allows the player to do more damage in situations where damage is required if they haven't gained any XP during the pacifist run. Comprised of 110 tracks, the Undertale OST has 12 songs which aren't leitmotifs. What is a leitmotif, you ask? It's a musical phrase or melody reused in multiple songs to associate a tune with a person, event, or place. Some are used for characters such as the Sans theme, Undyne's theme, Toriel's theme, or many others. One in particular is known as his theme, hinted throughout the game. His theme can first be heard when you place an umbrella over a statue. It starts playing on a music box, giving off this sort of childlike and innocent feel, as if made for a younger monster that the statue was made in honor of. When played back on a nearby piano, it opens up a secret room where an ancient and overpowered item can be found, and stolen by a dog. You wonder, why is it that this is the only song to open a hidden area? And if you decide to look up which song it was, you find out the title of the track is Memory. Now, I'm in no way saying it's a perfect song, but when placed there, it gives off some emotional response. It makes you wonder, the memory of what? And who is being referenced by the title His Theme? Those are good questions that get answered when the track 71 is played. Undertale, the song named after its own game, and is played when you walk through the castle and get the monster's point of view of the events. We learn about Azrael, the monster prince, who died at the hands of humans and unknowingly set the events of Undertale in motion. That's one reason why I believe the track is named after the game. There are many other reasons that I won't get into, and instead, we'll encourage you to go find your own meaning and interpretation of why the song is titled Undertale. This song, however, is different from all the others. So far have this sound that wasn't played and recorded, but rather produced and was made without any mistakes or imperfections. Undertale, however, was different from every other. It's played live and on an instrument, performed by Stephanie McIntyre on acoustic guitar. It's perfectly imperfect. You can hear the small yet distinct sound of the pick being used to strum, and any other tiny mistakes that we make from time to time while playing instruments. And the use of using a live acoustic guitar for this one song is brilliant. It pulls us out of this sort of produced and digital sound the game was using before, and instead makes us feel safe, at home. As you may recall from what I said, you see the old house of the Dreamer family, which is just a copy of Toriel's house, which gave off this warm and good feeling. The reuse of the house and the placement of Undertale makes us feel better, letting us know everything will be alright. But unfortunately, we know that it won't. We know that up ahead lies the final battle where we must face King Asgore. The sound should be gloomy, depressing, dark, which it was for the original version, but Toby Fox changed it to what we hear now. A hopeful and more optimistic song, not meant to be a song for us, but for the monsters. They rejoice as you near Asgore's throne room, hoping that once Asgore defeats you, he can set the monsters free of the underground. You should be feeling sad, but you aren't. You're hopeful as well. Not because you're going to die or defeat Asgore, but because you share the same emotions as the monsters. We can feel the same emotions others feel in certain situations, and this is one of those moments. The song switches from acoustic guitar to a slow recorder that plays the motif heard in Once Upon a Time, the title theme for the game. It then switches back to acoustic guitar and goes up a step to sound more optimistic than it already was, to then come to a conclusion where we reach Sans in the Judgment Room. It's those moments that make the soundtrack of Undertale one of the best, but craziest of all, Toby himself says that a majority of the tracks are hidden in the game and are only heard when certain events or scenes happen. The song that might play when you fight Sans just so happens to be a total lie. It's not even in the game, but can only be heard by purchasing or streaming the soundtrack. And please, do not pirate the soundtrack. It is genuinely worth it, and so much effort was put into it. It has a lot of heart involved and tried to make something that changes the gaming experience from being somewhat humorous and funny to emotional and heartbreaking. All done mostly by Toby Fox, using FL Studio and some free sound fonts and synth sounds. And on the same day as release, the Undertale OST was put out into the world and became one of the best indie video game soundtracks ever, alongside Hotline Miami and Celeste.